we are introducing Believing for Your Best blog. You can read the blog posts at www.godspromisesmedia.com or go to God's Promises Media YouTube channel and listen there as well. Believing for Your Best blog seeks to share enlightening experiences of hope, truth, and light regarding life, purpose, and focus. God has blessed me with a series to share with you. The fourth and the final in the series is obedience. What do we know about obedience? Do we practice it, or do we want others to practice it so that it favors us? And who are we obedient to? Obedience can seem to be a tricky thing. It feeds us at times with positive results. We feel accomplished, joyful in fact. But what happens when a person is obedient and nothing happens in the natural? In fact, just the opposite. Negative occurrences begin to plague the person at every turn with no end in sight. It is not what most people think or expect. Unfortunately, it does happen. It is part of the maturing process in Christ. No one wants to talk about this because it is difficult. Can you imagine consistently being obedient with no rewards at times, feeling battered and bruised almost to the point of bloody? Take a look at, you know who I'm going to say, Job. You probably already know his story. Job was an obedient servant to the Most High. His life was good. He loved God, and God was pleased with him. Job had everything until that day when he did not. You see, God allowed Satan to sift Job. We would describe it as hell on earth. Regardless of the torment, Job never turned his back on God. God loved him, and he knew that Job would pass Satan's tests because God created him, and he knew Job's heart. Due to Job's obedience, faithfulness, perseverance, and love for God, all that Job lost was restored by God, double the portion. Let's also look at Abraham. A monumental moment in his walk with God is one of the best examples of obedience, obeying God's command to sacrifice his son. Most of us would not fathom this type of sacrifice, but Abraham was obedient to God's request when he took his son Isaac to be sacrificed. He knew God and trusted him, so he did what God instructed him to do. His son was probably petrified. Wouldn't you be if your father held a knife above you as a sacrifice? I digress. We know that God stopped Abraham and provided a ram in the bush. See Genesis 22, 1-14, and LT. Abraham's obedience to God proved his love for and trust in God and his promises. Sometimes we do not understand what God is doing in our lives. We do all these things to please the Most High God, and sometimes we get lost in the doing. A life that is on autopilot is not an authentic relationship with the Master. There are times when God shakes things up to move us out of a pattern so that we are present in our relationship with Him, truly present. It is a maturing process. God is with us to live this life. In our journey with Him, He's teaching us how to be fully present through prayer, listening, and obedience. We need to be plugged into Him. He loves us in a way we do not fully understand, but we will. Until then, we need to trust Him and be obedient to His instructions, but not in a monotonous way. We are not here to be mindless drones. We are here to be deeply developed sons and daughters of the King, willingly participating in a relationship with Him. Healthy, productive, and purposeful relationships. He did not create us to be less. God created us to be more, and through mindful obedience, we can get to a place of true knowing in Christ Jesus. God's Promises Media is a ministry of service and for God's glory. We serve to guide anyone focused on a Christian journey of purpose through a unique digital media startup that provides an original approach to podcasting, blogging, digital music, vlogging, and retail products.